На цій конференції
At this conference, we have heard some keynote speeches, and now is the time for transforming those key speeches into key projects. And if those speeches are something that you can hear every time, the key projects is not something you encounter everywhere. So, to talk more about Mykolaiv, which we already heard about. Some of you could have seen it in virtual reality as well. Now we are going to show you a short video which is worth your attention. So please watch it closely.
Бізнесменів. Місто свободи, неймовірних краєвидів та незламних людей.
In a televised address at around 6 a.m. in Moscow, President Putin announced what he called a special military operation aimed, he said, to create the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine.
Ворог намагався знищити все це. Тяжкі втрати, руйнування, які понесло наше місто під час війни, не зламало дух Миколаєва. Місто-герой, що став фортецею півдня України, знову починає дихати. Віра і незламність мотивує нас і світ продовжувати шлях розвитку. І сьогодні ми хочемо розказати вам про новий стратегічний напрямок відновлення та розвитку міста – блакитна економіка.
Сьогодні ми представляємо портфоліо проєктів відновлення міста Миколаєва. Цей проєкт є спільною роботою нашої команди Миколаївської міської ради і наших міжнародних партнерів з програми «Мери за економічне зростання», спільно з експертами і консультантами програми розвитку Організації Об'єднаних Націй.
Портфоліо включило в себе 5 ключових компонентів, які об'єднали одним напрямком – стала трансформація міста Миколаєва до блакитної економіки. Це друге дихання Миколаївського суднобудівного заводу, підтримка трансформації малого та середнього бізнесу до блакитної та зеленої економіки, план реконструкції навчального центру «Школа юних моряків», встановлення стратегічного партнерства та каналу комунікації для Миколаєва, місія та концептуальний дизайн морського індустріального парку.
Знали, що Олександр Сенкевич вміє говорити стисло і переконливо. А тут ми ще...
So now we have heard Artem Vashilenko, who was pretty concise and convincing. But even when most have understood, there are some unexplained circumstances, like, for example, what is UACPB, if I have pronounced this correctly. But this is a Ukrainian Association of Centers for the Support of Business. And the key projects are going to be presented by Artem Vashilenko, Executive Director of this said association. and also the head of Expert Public Council of the Executive Committee in Mykolaiv City Council. The floor is yours.
Is our colleagues from the company OneWorks, Mr. Giulio Di Carli, and we will show how the real cooperation works, because this project's been developed in very tight cooperation. So also this presentation, this session, we also will do together.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's go to the stage. Dear ladies and gentlemen, planning this event, we were thinking to give you not only the pragmatic reasons to work with the city of Mykolaiv, but also some sort of emotional feeling of what is this land about? What are the people living and working there? Yes, we prepared the virtual reality presentations. I saw some of you were already there. For those who haven't yet been to Mykolaiv, please use this chance. You will see the history, you will see the future development, and you will see all these 139 kilometers of the unique waterfront, which is giving us the good base for the blue economy development. From Bronze Age port to last 2.5 centuries of shipbuilding, sailing, marine trade, generations of people living at this land developed the specific DNA of Mykolaiv. And it was already mentioned during the conversations before, but this is specific about Mykolaiv. And this DNA, it's about love to the sea, water, waves, and sail. And this is the grassroots of the blue economy. Of course, with their new understanding of economical profitability, sustainable use, and energy efficiency.
And let me add, Artem,
Yes, please.
Short period vision, but long-term vision together.
Absolutely.
This is the most important
Absolutely agree.
goal of the work we are doing together.
Yep. So, that's why the Mykolaiv community selected their blue economy as a strategic direction for the next decades for recovery and growth. It happens, and it also was mentioned by the colleagues before, with the strong involvement of small business association, well, civil society institutions, maritime cluster, their local experts, local businesses. So the big number of the citizens of Mykolaiv really feel and understand their future in their blue economy development. In Mykolaiv, we have rather long tradition of the participatory approach. For more than 15 years, the expert civil council is a part of the decision-making in the city, together with the network of sectorial councils providing their professional support while decision-making in the municipal level.
And believe me, coming from outside, this is a unique characteristic.
Thank you. And please, dear colleagues, stress on that. And this is answering the strategic dimensions Mr. Mayor was presenting here. It's about the openness, it's about trust, and it's about control. So this approach was also used during their portfolio project design. And the mapping of the all stakeholders was clearly, carefully done to make sure that all their decisions, all the solutions will be in focus with their interests of their companies, institutions, educational entities, local government, all that who form the ecosystem of the blue economy. More than 100 of experts were voluntarily working during this project development. 12 working sessions, focus groups, more than 900 people hours invested by the citizens of Mykolaiv, by the public experts, in developing their 5 projects of portfolio, 1 blue economy platform, the number of professional recommendations to the local government, and the 3 infrastructural concepts. My colleague Giulio will present you later on, and I will focus on, it's just for you to see how it was happening, and you see some familiar faces, but the blue and green transition platform was their first thing their community was working on. Please use your gadgets. You can scan, and as our moderator was asking, so what is the blue economy? What is it all about? Please use this QR code. You can scan, and once again, have the deep dive in what is blue economy about. I see some of you are following. For those who did it, you can see this is the front page. And it shows in the easy and pretty understandable way to everybody who is interested what is blue economy. What is green economy? Because we were talking about both these dimensions. And besides all of, and the blue growth and the green transactions are already the strategic directions of the European Union growth, they still are not yet well understanding for the people in Mykolaiv and in Ukraine. So you have on your devices the English version, but our main focus was to have the Ukrainian language version, giving the Ukrainians the access to the knowledge about the blue economy and all the resources devoted to that. So it's structured and it has all the policies. It's described all the dimensions, all the sectors, and all the stakeholders. Everything is there. More than 700 carefully selected materials are presented on the platform. All they are accessible in Ukrainian. And I would like to thank to the National Academy of Science, who were our partners in designing this knowledge base. Oops. Something went wrong. Yeah. So, knowledge, opportunities, events, news. Yeah, it goes. Yeah, you can see it. And by the way, in the news, you saw the European Maritime Day, which is one of the key events in the European agenda about the blue economy. And Mykolaiv is hosting the European Maritime Day for now 7 years. So the important thing is a self-assessment instrument. The unique things designed for the businesses, for their practical use, to check how they are represented in the blue economy. What are their strengths and weaknesses? What kind of things they should improve? What kind of recommendation they need? So just answering the questions where some sort of answers are already underlined, you will receive such metrics showing your strengths and weaknesses, what type of dimension you should move, and also from the platform receive the recommendations and the access to the knowledge which you need to improve. So this is basically the story how the blue transition for the Mykolaiv was started. I think now we could switch to our infrastructural project, the concepts for which were designed by the citizens of Mykolaiv, and then, thanks to UNDP, European Union, and the Kingdom of Denmark, so we get the ability to attract the professional experience with the modern urbanistic vision and to put together our concept and this international experience. So thank you for this ability, and I will pass the clicker to my colleague.
Many thanks, Artem. I will briefly illustrate 3 cases of projects that interpret the philosophy, the method, the strategy that has been explained this morning through various interventions. Things have to be grounded also with physical, architectural expression. Otherwise, all those concepts are not realistic. It's not clear how to make things happen in the medium and long term. We know that we have some immediate action to take to recover the situation of the city or the population, to prepare the condition to have the population back. But as we said, it's crucial to see through concrete example how to prepare also the medium and long term. The exercise we have done on the base of the brief received by UNDP and by all the contribution we had from the Mykolaiv, allow me to say, referring to the previous discussion about we have to work with what we have. My friend Major knows that we started, it was August 2022, so we can be considered part of what we have. We are here, we started with the master plan, the concept master plan, and now we are entering in more concrete example cases for pilot projects. Let's start from the shipyard, and then we'll go briefly through the aquaport that has been already mentioned this morning, and the industrial park. We have also a physical model printed down there to have a more precise idea of the industrial park.
Giulio, before we started, going deeper in the shipyard, I want everybody to understand that, particularly this location, in the center of the city, this is the place which symbolizes the, old ages of shipbuilding glory of the city of Mykolaiv. And now we should be enough mature to understand and to say to ourselves that unfortunately it's no longer possible to produce the modern vessels on that location. But we as a community want to keep it as a part of our history. So that's why the shipyard will have the locations for the small shipbuilding, ship repairing, historical, industrial heritage, historical territory, but also new other features. Thank you.
Correct. There are many examples all around the world on this kind of transformation that are based on a long history and existing infrastructures and building. So as you mentioned, the two first projects, the shipyard and the aquaport, are right in the city center, as you can see in the map, and are part of the vision that put the river at the center of the master plan. Let's start with the shipyard. It's an area of about 100 hectares split on the two sides of the river, the right and the left bank. The right side is attached, is close to the city center, and the left side is an undeveloped area with plenty of space for a very flexible development. The northern area is also very sensitive in terms of environment. There are incredible environmental values that we assessed. It's important, and this I would like to highlight again, that all these projects, and this in particular, is part of the master plan vision. So you have to see those examples as part of the wider picture of the master plan. Means that together, in parallel with these projects, we prepare also the infrastructural vision in terms of accessibility, mobility, urban mobility, strategies for utilities, for energy, together with our Danish partners. As you can see from this picture, there are some very iconic structures and buildings in this area that are the base for our interpretation of the concept master plan for these areas. The brief we received from UNDP is based on the regeneration of the shipyard, as Artem said, and is based also on the goal of reconnecting this part of the city with the city center.
And also reconnecting the river, because when this territory is the closed Navy building shipyard, it was. So the part of the river was basically excluded from the city transportation route. So now we want to bring river back to the citizens.
Sure, the river is at the center of all these projects, and is also the reason for the destination for all these areas on the both banks along the river, with a combination of destination that includes industrial, small industrial activities, but also public realm and destination for the local population, some residential facilities, commercial, food and beverage and retail, and very important also green spaces. The combination of the destination is key for this project, as well as the flexibility of the layout for both the areas, left and right banks, and the connection with the existing cities and the accessibility infrastructure is key for the project. There is a total built-up area of more than 700,000 square meters, divided into a combination of residential and offices, cultural, tech park, industrial, for which we have really a lot of examples around the world that qualify this kind of regeneration project as key for the future of the cities. We have example in Europe, but also in North America, as well in Asia and Australia. And we had the experience also in Italy with two cities, Genova and Trieste, that are very similar to Mykolaiv, also for history with the shipyard and waterfront activities.
So that's why your experience in designing this similar project of revitalizing the former industrial and port territories in modern urbanistic infrastructure is so important for us. So that's why we are so keen about your expertise to be involved in the solutions for Mykolaiv.
We brought the experience, but as you already mentioned, we took advantage from not only from the brief, but also from the community engagement that has been the key factor for this project since the beginning. And as you can see also in all these images and in the renderings, that I invite all of you to watch with carefully. We didn't design fancy things or something far from the reality. You can easily recognize, looking at the rendering, objects that are already there. Together with those objects, there are new buildings and new connection with the existing city and new public spaces that prove the openness of this area to the city. This night view shows also the atmosphere, the general atmosphere of the new redeveloped site that will appear very similar to these renderings once all the components of the project will be completed. Some very innovative object is also forecasted because it's key for this kind of project to attract international investors and to put this project at the attention of the international community. One example is the cable car, that is something fancy but also studied all around the world with attention for new way of not only transportation but also attraction for people.
But also what's important, that this shipyard is the birthplace for now well-known battleship Moscow, sunk and destroyed by the Ukrainian Navy. So their brother-sister vessel, the last one in this area, is still at this territory. And we believe that this object could be the good starting point for the Naval Museum on the territory of Mykolaiv shipyard.
Which is important also to combine some cultural heritage destination with commercial and industrial activities. Crucial for the feasibility of the project is the visibility of phasing. The idea is that the flexible layout that starts from the existing components, and this is very important, all these elements are combined with, as I said, the future vision. And the phasing program is based on the infrastructure for the site that are forecasted for the medium and long term. And you can see a simulation of four phases of the development that starts from the right banks next to the cities and will be developed in the northern area for future development. This is an aerial view with also the pedestrian bridge that connect the two sides of the shipyard area. Once the the whole development will be completed.
And also please pay attention that it's planned that their city waterfront boulevard will continue through the territory of the shipyard, giving the complete accessibility and bringing back this territory to the fabric of the city.
Yeah, if you remember the picture of the existing structure of the shipyard, you can recognize how this structure will be included in the project, but open to the public, with the walkability of the whole waterfront. The cable car that connects the two sides of the development, and you can see the old shipyard with the new small boats of the marina. The second project we developed is the aquaport, has been mentioned by the mayor as a case of something that the population really aspire to see as the first step for the reappropriation of the river for the city.
By the way, on the initial portfolio design, it was planned that first we will focus only on rethinking the purpose and the shape of the building of their young mariners' school, but the school of young sailors. But then, during the open discussions with involvement of stakeholders, the people who are working on the river, the companies who plan to rebuild their river tourism, the river transportation, there are people who are keen on developing their marinas, the yacht infrastructure, attracting other players to come to Mykolaiv to serve their boats, to save them, to provide the services. So it was rethinking as a complete location using both two banks of the river Ingul and all the territories around as the one territory. And the name Aquaport was also selected by the people of Mykolaiv through the open vote. So they voted to have this name. And the name Aquaport also came because in the Bronze Age, it was port there. During their last centuries, it was the port there. And it's still the port in the mind of the people. But now, the port for the yachts, the municipal marina in the center, the kids' schools for the sailing, boating, young sailors, everything in one location.
It's a port in the story, but it's also a gate to access the river and the next project of the shipyard that is adjacent
just
to
next
the
door.
aquaport.
Next door to
Yes.
each other.
That's why it's to be considered a gate to enter in the new development. And also, in this project is very important, the 1 kilometer of riverfront that will be a continuity, will have a continuity with the waterfront of the shipyard. It's overall an area of 50,000 square meters. The land use of the city attached to this project, as you can see, is very mixed, residential, community facilities, commercial, industrial, but also in this case we have environmental values, and this is to be highlighted because all this project has the environmental, the green feature as main goal.
And also some people are calling Mykolaiv the city of the bridges. So the old bridge, old Mykolaiv people know that it's a pedestrian bridge through the river Ingul. Very old, very hard to use. So also by our Italian colleagues, it was suggested to rethink its construction. The very smart cases from other places were proposed. So the new vision for the new pedestrian bridge united all this territory together is also part of the project.
Sure, and given the attention of all these elements, we involve also specialists for the landscape, the green, as well as for the accessibility and the urban mobility, and we work with a wide team of experts to prepare these feasibility studies and conceptual projects. I suggest to look at this image with attention, because when you will see the rendering, you will recognize some of the elements, and it's important to see that we are just transforming what we have on the ground, and this is the best expression of what the community, the local communities, is asking to develop their memory on this side, to develop what they already have in their idea of this site, and what they aspire to see in the future.
But also using the suggestion from Mr. Rodin, use what you have. So we are basing on what we have.
Sure. The brief has been a very strong light for us, creating a public space that reflects the local culture, as we said, but also the history, but looking at modern infrastructure for the future. So providing recreational spaces and leisure opportunities. People aspire to leisure in these spaces along the river. And an aspiration is also to open all these spaces to a new form of tourism for the city that can support the economy, is another source of economy for the city, as well as water services that are very much connected to the idea of the port, the aqua port. The layout is very flexible also in this case. This is a simulation of the main components of the aquaport. The Children and Youth Sports School and the gym and the yacht club are a modern interpretation, a development of what is already on the ground.
And by the way, the discussion about the model of organizing the municipal yacht club is already part of the today's city agenda. So we are already trying to do our homework to prepare for implementing this vision.
Same idea of valorization of what is already in this area on the other side, the water palace, the water transport bus station, and the walkable waterfront with the marina. The master plan proposal that you can see with the simulation also of the buildings, please look at the appropriate scale. We are not imagining big buildings or fancy things, but very realistic objects that can deal with the scale of the waterfront, the river, and the local environment. So all the destinations that I mentioned found a precise place in this simulation, and you can see also along both sides of the waterfront the marinas with the small boats that are the best expression of how people can use the water, can use the river waterfront.
And once again, this is an answer to the Mykolaiv DNA with the sails and waves. So this is the place to grow, to keep and flourish the DNA of the people of Mykolaiv. These yachts, boats, their accessibility to any type of water activities.
Yes. It's important to highlight that the master plan is very flexible. We can start step by step realizing all the components, and all the elements can work autonomously, independently from the other components. This is the gate to enter in the site with the public beach, the rescue station, and the boat storage and terrace.
Yeah, but also, look, point 2 and point 3, it's another, basically, another marina based on existing boat station. So this is how we are rethinking the existing infrastructure, but giving them the modern meaning and including it all in the vision for the future of this territory.
I don't know why it's not... Okay. So this is an aerial view. Again, with attention to objects that are already there, and the new infrastructure with some modern concept for buildings inspired by example that comes from best practice around the world. The pointer has some problem. Another high-level view that shows some of the objects in the water palace and the waterfront as public realm connected to the city and to the shipyard development.
By the way, the Water Palace is a combination of the educational side, open space for public events for the city community, and also the starting point for the local tourist river routes, also regular river routes connecting the bridges, connecting the districts of the city of Mykolaiv by water.
Okay.
It works.
So again, the functional program is based on the brief received and based on the flexibility to ensure the feasibility of the development. Let's now introduce the industrial part. We work on a combination of projects, and this is very interesting going back to the master plan vision. All these things have to happen together in parallel. If we want to see Mykolaiv, as has been described in the previous discussions and presentations, we have to provide also with physical interpretation space for industrial development, modern industrial development that is based on a combination of light and heavy industry. We received a site that is perfect to enable development with the maximum flexibility and graduality for realization. We have a plot of about 200 hectares, completely empty, so available for the development in a very fast way, but also very well connected to accessibility infrastructures.
And because of the free land, it's a big advantage. Particularly, we can start implementation just from the first moment.
And this is very important for going in parallel with some projects to respond to investor needs and to support the relaunch of the economy.
And as we also heard from the presentation of their chair of their Mykolaiv Oblast Military Administration, the development of industrial park is one of the priorities for the economical and industrial recovery for the Mykolaiv region. So their industrial park in the city of Mykolaiv should also be the part of this, let's say, regional industrial park infrastructure.
Correct. This is an empty plot, but is next to the built city. And this is important because some of the accessibility infrastructure can be shared with the city. It's a quite sensitive area in terms of environmental value, as you can see in the image. And the layout we prepare consider these values and found the layout of the area in order to respect those values. The brief we received is to create a compelling concept able to attract investments also from international companies that are necessary for the development of a new economy. So industrial enterprise, logistics centers, innovation center, business incubator, and of course, infrastructures and services for all these facilities. The layout is based, again, on flexibility and accessibility that are the two conditions for the success of an industrial park that you can see on the right connected to the infrastructure network for accessibility that includes rail access with a new station for rail and a connection to the airport. As I said, the environmental value are key for the layout, so we have a buffer zone to separate the built city from the new development, and a green axis that provide structures for the development of the buildings of the industrial park. You can see in the layout a combination of small, medium, and big size buildings. That is the maximum of the flexibility. You can see the road networks that grant accessibility to all the plots. And the special attention is provided to the energy concept, considering the solar panel allocation on all the buildings and in the surrounding areas. As I said, there is a model that you can see down in the room. The functional program is based on a simulation of distribution of all the functions that I mentioned, taking in consideration logistic and hospitality that have to support the attraction of international companies. Also for this project, we prepared a simulation of a phasing for the construction based on the relationship between the infrastructure network and the buildings.
I see the reminding from our moderator that we a little bit use too much time. So maybe we will give the chance to the colleagues. First of all, really, use the model which is there. You can even touch it. And also, please use
physical model are
absolutely
always the best.
Yeah, and also use the chance that we are together, stay here all the day long. You can ask the questions. We will be happy to give you more details. But one thing is important, that the concept of industrial park was developed with understanding of the logistic needs for the south of Ukraine. And it's the combination of industrial and logistic facilities, but also the facilities for the small businesses, all together in one.
Good. We have some aerial view to see the completion of the industrial park together with the view of the city of Mykolaiv.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, but I still have one question, and it harks back to the story that we heard from His Excellency the Ambassador about people wanting to make Mykolaiv a little Denmark or a little Dubai. What about the idea of greater Mykolaiv? And in this case, I mean also territorial expansion of the city.
You or me?
No,
okay.
It's,
you know,
it's for you.
Something like more than 10 years ago, also together with the international partners, it was developed the concept of big agglomeration, putting together, particularly you know about that, putting together city of Mykolaiv and the city of Kherson. I'm not sure is this idea now on the table, but why not?
Will they form the single football team?
Oh, maybe. And one short comment before we left the stage. 2 days ago, one of our international partners came to Mykolaiv. He came for the first time. He saw the city, he saw the damages, and he says that, oh, you can only dream now about the future of Mykolaiv. No. We cannot now not only dream about the future of Mykolaiv, we now can precisely plan the future of Mykolaiv together with our respective partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A huge round of applause. І ми переходимо до першої.
And now let us proceed with the first panel discussion, economic recovery of the city through innovations and creative solutions. So while we are setting chairs and furniture, I will add a few more points. And I guess now it's really important to remember this, to recall this yellow brick road image used by Mr. Genov in his presentation. We know that various, not even people, but creatures and characters once used this road. They had their strengths and weaknesses. The lion, the scarecrow, the woodcutter. So it's not just how to exploit our strengths, but also how to address our weaknesses. So we need to make our weaknesses our strengths, make impossible things possible. I think this task of organizing discussion and bringing our attention to this fact will be perfect for Mr. Yurchak, CEO of Association of Industrial Automation of Ukraine and coordinator of Industry 4.0 movement founder of Ukrainian Cluster Alliance. Please, the floor is yours. Greetings, dear colleagues. Thank you so much for having me. We have a truly amazing event today, and I'm really honored to moderate this discussion. I think I will be representing our clusters here. Clusters profoundly interact with communities, and of course they are also present in Mykolaiv. And actually our today's discussion, the name of it is Economic Recovery of Mykolaiv based on innovations and creative solutions. So the name of our conference is Mykolaiv, the city on the wave. But today we have a very diverse community. We were basically raising the sail of this ship, and what we heard during the first part, during the first presentations, really inspire us. There is an inscription on this sail. It's blue economy. We are going to talk about it. We are going to talk about innovations, and I'm really impressed by this energy, this inspiration, and this love towards a home city that's ringing in all presentations, especially the last one. I see that our colleagues have done a great job on bringing closer this future, and now I kindly invite Mr. Sienkiewicz, the mayor of Mykolaiv. Jakob Torrid Hansen, head of Mykolaiv Recovery Program, Denmark Embassy to Ukraine. Olega Zhukova, CEO of Marine Cluster of Ukraine and Dem Company. Natalia Starostenko, head of regional and local development at the EU delegation to Ukraine. And Andriy Dligach. Andriy is a founder of Board Business Community and co-founder of Economic Recovery Center. So during the previous presentation, we saw many people putting emphasis on the early projects related to city development. But the key focus of our discussion will be on specific questions. What specific steps can be taken to develop these priorities and these opportunities? What are some of the specific routes, specific tools for development? And first, I would like to give floor to Ms. Starostenko. So, our speakers clearly mentioned that Mykolaiv is guided by the European economy integration, including blue economy. Could you please share some of your feedback on it? What are some challenges and opportunities in this Euro integration journey? Sure. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for your invitation and thank you for interesting question. Of course, regional policy is going to play an essential role in the Ukrainian recovery and European integration processes. And as for our Euro integration and regional strategy dimensions, when I read the agenda of this forum, I immediately noticed a very close connection to this issue. First of all, it's very good that you understand the need of shifting from recovery paradigm to building back better idea. You're already thinking about attraction of investors, about development of projects, and bringing back people. This is the most important thing. I recently came back from Brussels. I took part in a conference called European Weeks of Regions and Cities. This is a large annual event which brings together representatives from various European cities and municipalities, and the regional committee president, Vasco Cordeiro, mentioned that today people have a right to live or a right to stay. And now, even European countries are being really proactive. They proactively compete for qualified workforce, and they try to create conditions for people to exercise their right to stay. So it's really amazing that you are focusing on creation of jobs. You are developing projects that will contribute to employment. So your efforts right now perfectly match the best regional policy practices of the European Union. Moreover, I would like to emphasize that this year's European Commission approved unprecedented financial aid for Ukraine, 50 billion euros. And the purpose of this aid is to support macroeconomic stability or macroeconomic resilience of Ukraine. And these funds will be transferred in 2024-2027. We call this Grant Ukraine facility. And this Ukraine facility consists out of 3 pillars. The first pillar is funding of Ukraine plan implementation. These funds will be received by Ukrainian national budget, 38 billion euros. So, out of this pillar, 20% will be used at local level, up to 1 billion euro. And right now, Ukrainian government is developing the efficient system for the distribution of this resource between local authorities. And Mykolaiv city will be also able to apply for this funding as soon as this program is developed and approved. So please follow up on it. And the second pillar is an investment stimulation program.
Its financing is going to be 9 billion euro, and under the aegis of this program, you can apply for financing of infrastructure projects, because international financial institutions like EBRD, EIB, KfW received financing from the European Commission and the European Union to fund not just business projects, but also infrastructure projects. And I really recommend a manual from the Ministry of Economy, developed jointly with the Kyiv School of Economics. It's called Financial Instruments for Business in Ukraine. And it contains information how to develop such projects, because international financial institutions stress that we don't have enough bankable projects, that is, projects that could be financed. And this manual also has information about infrastructure projects. In particular, the European Union Representative Office already has examples of such projects. In the framework of ULEAD, we already supported development of 25 such projects that will also help to present to international financial institutions. And thirdly, I would like to note that what you're doing very actively and what matches European best practices, that's cooperation with the municipalities in European countries. President of European Commission Ursula von der Leyen and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stressed many times that this peer-to-peer cooperation will play an essential role. And now, when we help with the representation of the EU in such cooperation, we're saying that we have to learn project management. It's not just some connections, and it's not just between the business and employees, but that's first of all, you learn project management. And in the end, I also wanted to say that now Ukrainian government plans to restore work on smart specialization. This is an instrument helping to use competitive advantages of the cities to encourage the economic growth. And you're actually working on smart specializations, that's obvious. And for sure, I'm going to tell you about that in Joint Research Center in the European Commission, which works in smart specialization, because when this work is restored, it's going to be an important component of state regional development strategy. What about challenges? I believe that they're similar for the national and the local level. And first of all, that is the approval. I mean, now the state strategy of regional development has been updated, and the Ministry of Communities and Territories works on the action plan for this strategy. And it is critical to include the smart specialization and transborder cooperation instruments so that local authorities were able to use those. Secondly, I wanted to say that it's very important to work on project development, because when the financing is available, when the war is over, we have to be ready. That's intermunicipal cooperation, cooperation with European municipalities. I would say that these are challenges, but obviously are working on those, and you already manage lots of things. So I wish you good wind and all the best. Thank you, Natalia. Unfortunately, Vitaly Kim had to leave us due to important reasons, but I believe that Alexander Sienkiewicz, he hasn't left us. He simply went away. Okay, then the floor is yours. You are also going to present him, the regional administration. And the first question is to you. Natalia has just noted that the amount of projects in Ukrainian regions remains a challenge. You presented 3 big strategies, big city development programs. If you take the region in general and the city in particular, in your opinion, are there enough projects that Natalia said that are bankable, which have the respective justification, those that... And what do we do to have more of such projects? Thanks everyone who is here today. I thank partners who helped to organize this day. And we started working with the partners, not after the war, but during the war. And we want to make this cooperation much better. We cannot do that just so. We're prepared to prepare Mykolaiv region for accession to the EU. Of course, we cannot become a part of the EU separately because we are part of a great country called Ukraine. And unfortunately, today, I mean, our country is big, and unfortunately, the feeling of the war is very different depending on where in the country we are in. And normally, some things that we can do locally we cannot change them without changing things on a global level. We can develop a strategy of Mykolaiv region, but it has to be written into the general state strategy. And studying the territory of our country, we have to be aware that some territories have some advantages, and some other territories are going to do other things depending on their features. And we want to already take blue economy up so that we are viewed as the main player in this field on the territory of the country. So we're doing that. It is important to understand that today the documents that are being developed, I would like to thank immensely my team, the team of the regional military administration, because actually the biggest problem of post-war reconstruction will be not construction materials, vehicles and mechanisms, but people. This huge brain drain that has been mentioned today. And I would like to thank all the guys and girls from Mykolaiv in the region who work on the future of the city now and the future of the region, obviously. It's important that there's going to be a sort of cookbook for those after us who will improve it, who will use it, but that should become the base for future generations, regardless who the city mayor is, the head of the administration and all that. And already today, on the national level, we have to talk about that and have to start the development. I mean, the strategy of post-war economic restoration, and it cannot be one and the same for everything. It cannot be a recipe for all regions. The idea is that we are to create a range of economic instruments. What does that mean? In my opinion, this is something that, I mean, today we know that Kherson, Kharkiv, Sumy are bombed every day. And in Uzhhorod, there isn't even a curfew. And it's not bad, actually, because the country should both fight and restore itself economically. But post-war restoration has to include different economic instruments to answer the question, why? And and come to Ukrainian business in the regions like in Mykolaiv. Why? Because today we are not competitive compared to other regions like Vinnytsia, Khmelnytsky, Lviv, Uzhhorod, because business is about money, and money is about risks. So this levy of risks and profits has to be that more risks, more profits, less risks, less profits. Today, Mykolaiv is a zone of greater risk and less profits. So that's not about business at all. I mean, we can draw any possible strategy, 3D visualization and everything, but the business says why, not how to enter Mykolaiv, because we can tell them, but why. And solving this issue locally is something we cannot do. That is why industrial parks in the country are cool. Industrial parks in Mykolaiv or Mykolaiv region have to have specific privileges, economic privileges. For example, fewer taxes, more preferences, and the like. And it's something that can only be done on a national level. So it's great that we have meetings like that for such opinions to be voiced, and we don't just dream about them, but bring them closer. So that the president's office and different ministries already, they understand that without all that, everything we're showing today is just not gonna take off. It'll just remain on paper. Thanks a lot. Very quickly, second question. So you talked about the instruments. It's about the special status of frontline regions. I know that said issues were also raised by Zaporizhia and Kharkiv, Sumy. So what is the stand of the central government? Or do you mean some other instrument? What should have been the instrument that would bring the business back and attract investment? It is tax instruments. Of course, today it is hard to forecast the return of business, those that used to be there and relocate in other regions, and also there are a lot of new businesses. But today, what we're doing during the meetings with international partners, we're saying, give us your technologies and let us implement them in our technical schools. That is like vocational schools that we can implement today. So give us our equipment and training programs. We'll be able to train qualified people, because when you come to us after the war, we're going to have people who'll be able to do something that you need. On the national level, it's not discussed. You understand that the war is going on, and the main priority is the victory. What's going to happen after the victory? We can talk about that, of course, but now we are not working with that. So we decided to take it in our hands. We will be preparing those proposals and we'll be promoting them on the national level. Because again, this is not about drawings. It's about what we can tell an investor why you should be in Mykolaiv or in Kharkiv or in Sumy. And I believe that involving such cooperation with the stakeholders and people who are going to tell us what they need, that's very important. And the last statement, in 2016, we had economic forum. I mentioned it the day before yesterday. Mykolaiv region is a reliable partner, something like that. And we had our partners from Adjaria, Georgia, coming. And they told us how important it is, what kind of opportunities they have there for investment and all that. And then we were showing it as a Mykolaiv region. And we have this many cows, we have that much grain, we have this many tankers and all that. And in the end they said, why have we come? I mean, it's all cool here. So it's important to talk about potential opportunities that our potential investors will have. Very often they say that there is nothing there, but when there is nothing, there are great opportunities. So welcome to Mykolaiv region. Thanks, Alexander. The following question will be to Olena Zhukova. Our discussion is about innovations and creative solutions. And as we have just noted, it is not easy in the regions where there are great risks of investments, when there is growing demographic crisis, lots of other problems, talking about innovations. I don't know whether our audience knows the results of that research we had in Ukraine. Unfortunately, innovations in the list of priorities of industrial enterprises are now ranked last. And we understand why. Because it's the war, because the enterprises struggle to survive, And that is the classics of Maslow pyramid. And as we're talking about innovations, and it's a topic of our discussion, so Olena, why? Why are innovations important for restoration of the region? What is their role and place? Is it going to be somewhere far off in the future? Is it already now? Thank you, dear guests, partners, and colleagues, for the participation in such event, because this is our opportunity to draw attention, and I'm happy that it is about innovations. Thank you for the question. First of all, I would like to stress that innovations are an important factor of post-war restoration for Ukrainian economy, especially high-tech sector, industrial enterprises that shipbuilding belongs to, and also for further development of service companies in this segment. And this is not just that they should be there. The question is why. And I would like to share my opinion that first of all, why? Mykolaiv has to choose which community it wants to belong to, whether it wants to be among leaders. We choose friends, and I believe that innovational way of development for Mykolaiv guarantees good cooperation with the leaders, intellectual players for the development of innovations in the world. Then high value of products and projects and services is the goal of all investors. And I mean, that's a very reliable way. So to improve the value of the services that you provided the market, it is through innovations. And that's true for all businesses. But for shipbuilding, marine industry, the blue economy in general, no doubt this is a way towards the high value. The partners expect not something standard, not something pre-war. They want to cooperate with them, leading companies with contemporary views and skills. And the third thing I wanted to say, that without it, our chances for success become lower. Without innovations in development, our chances will become only smaller. As you have seen, and I was happy to hear that in the form of presentation, that innovational development in this form is already integrated in the strategy of regional and urban development. All companies, big and small businesses, have to be aware of innovations in contemporary trends. They have to know how these skills, how they can acquire these skills and develop them in their companies, and how they can include them in their development strategies. Well, the kind of global trend is twin transition points to the simultaneous transformation of business in digital area and forming more sustainable, environmentally friendly solutions. That's a complicated component. You may lack expertise, technology, or resources. But without that, being in contemporary business, that's something that is impossible. But small enterprises have problems with choosing such ways. So there should be national programs for the support of innovational development of marine economy in particular. So with regard to the marine safety and the needs for armed forces to develop the ships and also raising capacities of our enterprises to do state commissions, to build innovational ships. I mean, that's a term, maybe it's unpopular, but we still understand that technologies that are now used. So Ukraine is a leader using drones, and there are some very good ideas implemented there, and they lead us to our victory. So in particular, we have to make this steps to develop this innovation ecosystem, because without that, traditionally, you shouldn't be you couldn't be successful in such a complicated area, and you have to integrate supply chains, and then and it's about building shipbuilding and other high-tech business in this segment. And then you have to introduce these digital platforms and real processes in industry, and it can seriously accelerate engineering, construction, something that can make the enterprises more competitive in comparison with international partners. Whether the focus is enough innovations on the strategies, I could answer using MDM company. First of all, I would like to know that we are an affiliate company of Damen Holding, Damen Shipyards Group, and we use Damen font in our logo. But the last letter, upon permission of our city mayor, we use M letter because we want to promote our city in all our businesses. MDM is a multi-service engineering company in shipbuilding, but we don't just do basic designs or working designs or support industrial processes. We also provide high-tech, intellectual, and digital services to our partners of our corporation. And among them, there is so-called RDI services for complicated engineering calculations using complicated platforms for the so-called computer-related engineering. Also, we're developing standard components. Also, there are divisions that support digital platforms, online marketing, CCQ, like specialized platforms, which leading companies use to report their sustainability and develop it further on. And also IT services. All these services we were able to develop in these years in our city with our alma mater, the National University of Shipbuilding, and we are convinced that this is possible for the other partners, and we haven't yet taken up all opportunities with Damen Corporation. Thank you, Elena. Just a small clarification, because you have mentioned national programs, but so does Ukraine have a national program to support blue economy, or there isn't such a program? Well, there isn't a program with such title, but the program with the marine strategy, there are lots of principles of sustainable development and blue economy. So I hope that if it's going to be strengthened by financing and some other specific projects, then we'll believe that the state supports the blue economy. Okay, thanks. That's what we're going to believe, even though actually it's not there. And that's how I'm making a transition to the colleague who knows well what kind of instruments work and which don't, both on the national and the regional level. Andriy Dligach, as the head and the co-founder of board community, they do lots of regional events. So, Andriy, what is your opinion about the instruments that work or they don't on the regional level? So the floor is yours. First of all, thanks. You know, the first thing that I asked our board community is what kind of misunderstandings they have with the local authorities. They say it's all been resolved. A normal dialogue has been built with the municipal, with the regional administration, and even there is a joint understanding that what we should be changing together and how we should be acting about tax office and the conscription offices, because that is a problem for all frontline regions. This is problem number one for the business. Yesterday there was a big discussion with the representatives of the Ministry of Economy that comparing what is happening inside the country and in frontline regions, the pressure of law enforcement and the regulatory authorities is much higher in the frontline regions. But again, it's clear that it has to be solved as a problem. But I may pay attention to other things, the stats. 96% of fall of export in Mykolaiv region. So it's practically gone down to zero. 42% of population loss. The share in total economy from almost 2.5%, it's 2%, even though the potential of Mykolaiv region is incredible. And it is not just the potential of blue economy. By the way, there is an interesting double connotation here for this term. From the World Bank and the UN, it's more about sustainable economy, sustainable for the world ocean. But there is also the idea of blue economy by Robert Pauli, member of the Rome Club. That's like green economy, but not the lossy, but the profitable one. So Mykolaiv, both in renewable energy and absolute innovational projects in agriculture. I remember agrofusion, which before its destruction used to be among the technological drivers of Ukrainian agriculture. So this economy, which will be innovation, profitable, and give some and move the development in Mykolaiv region, this is our way. What is lacking? First of all, not enough definitions, not enough staff from the state. What should be the role of Mykolaiv region? Before the war, we were talking about the tourism way, but that wouldn't be enough. Seen it just as a tourist region. For sure, this is the region of innovations. For sure, this is the region of medical tourism in the future. For German retirees, for sure, it is the region of technological development. For sure, it is an IT region, IT business. In spite of other things, Kharkiv and Mykolaiv, these are two regions which are impressed by their resilience and development of IT sector, as well as the readiness to return and the demand in return. What also impressed me, especially in this presentation, we were organizing Odessa strategy. Odessa strategy is, it's like you do anything you want, but you don't touch the port. But here is on the contrary. Make the port a center, but not in a format of Copenhagen. Let's transform that in just a cultural monument. But let us rethink it. Revitalization and transformation into a real technological center. And this inspires. Thank you, Andriy. We'll still come back to more questions about agreement of the regional strategies to the national ones, but now I would like to give the floor to Hansen. I think I'll manage. Okay, you speak Ukrainian. So, Jakub, there were already words of thanks to the Danish government and to the international partners, because the volumes of international aid are huge. From the government, and to each Ukrainian, we are really grateful for the huge help provided all these years. And we heard today about Mykolaiv. But if we talk about your expectations, maybe even the needs in this cooperation with the region, how would you describe them? Or maybe prioritize? Yes, thanks a lot. Actually, I would like to start my speech from saying that we treat partnership with Mykolaiv seriously. We are here for a long time, 10 years at least. This is our obligation. And in this connection, we want Mykolaiv and Mykolaiv region to have an opportunity to plan ahead, to plan for the future, because we know that this is Ukrainian specifics, especially in the context of war ongoing war, that there is no opportunity to plan ahead. We are living year on year, and we plan for 3 months ahead. That is why we want, as a Kingdom of Denmark, I want to be that stability and predictability that is so lacking now in Ukraine. So that's one thing that I wanted to say. Actually, we understand that now the restoration program of Mykolaiv that I'm heading, we do mostly two things. The first one, the sustainability, resilience. We want the energy, the water supply to function normally in Mykolaiv, and in this way we are creating conditions for doing business. Another thing is safety and security. We want people to come back. We want to have shelters in schools and so on, so the children could study and their parents could work at their jobs. So we understand that for the following 3 to 5 years, we'll be probably doing that.
But Ukrainians as a nation are not a beneficiary. Ukrainians are a nation, hardworking nation, that strive to create own businesses, create own things. A nation with very creative thinking. We understand it, and we understand that for Danish businesses, Ukraine in general and Mykolaiv region in particular are a future sale market. So everything we're doing right now, we're doing to create some conditions and prerequisites for Ukrainian businesses to come back to Mykolaiv. And secondly, to make sure that Danish businesses are interested in operating in Mykolaiv. We know that in this requires certain prerequisites that do not exist right now. Of course, there is a security component, but there is another one as well. How to put it? Attraction of business, and because the conditions must be understandable, easy to understand. We want to make sure that Ukrainian business is easy to understand for Danish businesses, that information is available. If the information is available in English, for example, are there any partners that can communicate with Danish businessmen in English? Does the government guarantee the essential services needed for businesses? All these components are very essential, and we clearly understand that we still have to work on it. I think it will take a few more years at least. Thank you so much, and let us continue with this topic. So this project, these substantive proposals from Mykolaiv partners, what are your priorities? Which areas are your top priorities for Danish companies? Well, let's start with shipbuilding or marine industry in general. Denmark has many companies that are focused on design and engineering. We have stepped back from shipbuilding, but we still have enough designing and engineering capacities. And we know that Mykolaiv has tremendous experience. Mr. Ambassador already mentioned the National Shipbuilding University, NUK, which is a leading institution in this field. So this is something I would focus on. Thank you so much. Yeah, a round of applause, please. Okay, Mr. Andriy, I see that we have only 5 minutes left. We will try to keep to our timing. Can you extend it? Okay, you may have 7 minutes. 7 minutes, great. I have another question, and if we have some time left, I will give voice to audience. You will be able to ask your questions. But my last question is, we have talked about promising future a lot. Mr. Jakob mentioned 10 years perspective. It causes respect and inspiration, but if we talk about 2025, let's focus on very concrete priorities in black economy field. I have a question to all of you. Could you please name 1 to 3 priorities for stakeholders? You can talk on your own behalf, you can talk on behalf of the entirety of stakeholders, but what are some of your priorities for next years? It's November now, the next year is quite close. Start with you, Mr. Alexander. First of all, more applause to Mr. Jakob, please. Because some people describe Mykolaiv region as Russian-speaking region, but Mr. Jakob has lived in Mykolaiv for less than 1 year, and he already perfectly speaks in Ukrainian. Of course, he studies the language even before, but it's a good role model for those people who still struggle to switch to Ukrainian. They are lazy people, and this laziness is a key issue of these Ukrainians. As Jakob mentioned, we need to get rid of it because we need to work more. We need to work more than other European Union countries. You know, it's very difficult to plan anything as part of such construction projects or business integration projects without a clear understanding of how the battlefield situation is going to develop. Of course, the Mykolaiv budget is going to be decreased. Since 2021, our budget has decreased annually, less and less. So we definitely will need more governmental support. It's obvious. It's something indicated by the figures and numbers. Of course, today, I want to reiterate it. We mentioned several important calls and slogans were voiced from the stage, but we really want to build this dialogue with business. So business says, give us this, give us that. In Mykolaiv, we have built a cooperation with businesses and with civil society. Mr. Vashilenko mentioned our expert councils under the city council, our operation in specific economic units, but it's very important to also listen to some voice from outside. What do external invoices need? What is their vision? We want them to share their best practices with our city. Danish people have even opened a bright bird representative office. It's a concierge service for businesses. And thanks to them, we can communicate with Danish businesses exploring Ukrainian infrastructure. So I kindly invite the ambassadors present in this hall today. Please use Bright Door to engage not just Danish, but also other businesses. So it's easier for them to explore the infrastructure of Mykolaiv region, get information and plan for their development. And finally, wrapping up, I would like to emphasize that we have very fruitful cooperation with the European Anti-Corruption Initiative. When we started to cooperate with Denmark, the very first condition was that we wouldn't use funding. Danish money must be used only by Danish agencies, while Mykolaiv residents benefit from it, not operate this resource. Of course, right now we're considering the change of city management structure. We consider it along with European Anti-Corruption Initiative and Ernst & Young. We are working on changing the city management system. We also cooperate with Deloitte and European Anti-Corruption Initiative to do integrity assessment, evaluation, and to address integrity challenges for the largest consumers of budget funding, Mykolaiv Water Utility Company, Mykolaiv Heat Utility Company, and Mykolaiv Electric Transportation Company. So the largest money operators must make the procedures as transparent as possible and make sure that the process are approximated to European standard. Moreover, Mykolaiv is the first and the only municipality in Ukraine which, since the early days of the war, has publicly shared its report on its website, created with the support of European Anti-Corruption Initiative. We show our income, so what have we received, from whom, how these funds have been used, what's the balance, etc. Every person can open this website and check. Cockroaches don't like light, but we shed a light on our cooperation, we report on it, and we are willing to improve. Thank you so much. Around our plans, improvement of dialogue with business, with investors, and anti-corruption reforms. Jakub, please, the floor is yours. So what kind of priorities do you see for blue economy stakeholders for next year? I have a very specific example. Right now, we have cooperation between Odense, Denmark University students and students from the National Shipbuilding University on marine drones. So in that, and the thing is that all innovations emerge around universities. So in 2025, I will make my bet on cooperation between Mykolaiv and Danish universities. We will continue to build them. Thank you so much. Ms. Elena, please. I also would like to share another specific example. Right now, we're thinking about skill building and capacity building in terms of operational ship service. And for this purpose, we need, well, first of all, we need to build feedback channels with engineers, and we need to use complex digital platforms such as digital twin data processing, industrial Internet of Things. Such technologies are very complex, but we need to build a team that will have sufficient skills. It's our next step. I believe it's very blue example. Reskilling and upskilling is a topic which has not been mentioned in this room yet, but still very important with Ukraine. Ms. Natalia. Ms. Natalia just wants to summarize, so I will step instead of her. Access to funding. Two dimensions of it. 579 program is chronically underfunded, and frontline areas don't receive anything from it. Banks are afraid to fund us, so we need the governmental support to stimulate 579 program. And I really hope that this program will be extrapolated for the defense industry. But according to our research, businesses in Mykolaiv are not ready to accept money. They don't know how to deal with grant funding. They don't have legal structure ready, and our businesses are not sufficiently bankable to receive European grant programs we really rely on. So we need to learn, we need to change, and we need to become open. Thank you. Okay, so then I will summarize and wrap up. Well, we're moving in the right direction, and we need to keep doing it. We need to keep visible on the international arena and on Ukrainian arena, because right now there is a lot of competition for international aid, for cooperation, for return of people. So the more transparent and the more efficient the local governance is, the more chances to get these benefits. Therefore, I believe that this conference is a very good project itself, project to bring attention to the city of Mykolaiv, because transparency and efficiency are what most important for our partners. Therefore, keep doing it. And I wish you any success. And Mrs. Sienkiewicz, please accept my sincere compliments. Okay, dear friends, Mr. Andrei, we are just in time. Mr. Mayor, please accept my sincere appreciation. Mr. Alexander, dear colleagues, thank you for your cooperation. We mentioned it early morning, and we mentioned during this discussion. Basically, we reiterated what Mr. Rodin said. It's about trust, it's about cooperation and collaboration. And also we live in a very turbulent environment. If we keep true to these principles, we will prevail, not just survive. Mr. Alexander, it's not over yet, because when a professional moderates a discussion between professionals, the moderator's opinion is important. So please summarize this important without using if, without using conditional voice. Just summarize the things that must be done. Okay, let's move from principles to actions. I think Mykolaiv is one of the regions which leads by the role model. They show how this program can be efficiently implemented. In Ukrainian context, we use the word recovery carefully, because recovery mostly refers to post-war era, but we have no idea when the war is going to end, so we prefer the concept of resilience. How to demonstrate this resilience today? And for this purpose, we use such concept as, you know, this comprehensive collaboration, business, government, communities, expert environment, and this collaboration must be converted into very specific projects. Bankable project attractable for international partners and investors of various categories. And what I've heard today during the morning part and during this discussion makes me think that Mykolaiv is moving in the right direction, because what was mentioned by my colleague Artem Vashilenko, you know, it's an amazing portfolio and not just strategies in a paper. This is specific programs, programs of actions. There are only few of them in our regions. So it's the right direction. We need to build our capacity, and thank you so much, partners, for your support. And now the thing I could have said later, but I want to say it now while we have many people in this hall. A question for you. What do you think? At similar forum, who talks the most? Who's the most talkative person? Is it the moderator? Not. The highest level official? No. Invited guest speaker? No. It's people. People thanks to which we understand each other. Our simultaneous interpreter Anna Ivanchenko and Katerina Lovaka. Please a round of applause to these people. I don't know how they are going to translate what's in our agenda is named with purely Ukrainian words lunch and networking, but I think it will be easy to translate. So lunch break until 2:30 p.m.